What's going on, guys? David Ote here to help you find your best squat. When it comes to squatting, there's many modalities and many variations you can go to work about, but it's not a one-size-fits-all type of conversation. The problem is most people learn the most drastically difficult option of exercises in the beginning. And that'll create challenges for you because you're trying to fit a circle peg into a square space. And unfortunately, that seems to be the trend all the time with exercises. We try and fit ourselves to exercises instead of making sure that exercises are tailored to fit us. And it's never more prominent than with the squat. So when it comes to squatting, we're going to look at a couple of the options that you would have available to you and how you would help decipher which one is best for you. So when we talk about our squatting patterns, we want to identify what your natural movement pattern is first. Some people are squattier, which we would imagine is a more vertical pattern going through space, dropping flat down. We have people that are more hingy through their squat, which is where you see the butt shift all the way back before the knees start to bend. And ideally, we see someone that's able to match knee and hip, knee and hip, knee and hip, all the way down to get a smooth action at both the knees and hips and ankle. This is going to help us get a better idea of what the best squat is for you. So generally what we would want to do is troubleshoot and figure out, is it a stance situation? Is it a foot situation? Is there something that I can troubleshoot that is potentially causing us issues? It could be the footwear of what someone has on their feet. Maybe it's too flat, maybe it's too cushy and you're essentially on top of clouds or Tempur-Pedic pillows while you're trying to squat. Maybe it's where your feet are. If you have longer legs, you're most likely not going to have the same stance as someone who is much, much shorter than you. But we want to identify, is your squat more squatty, more hingy, or is it somewhere in between? So what we would do is then prescribe what is best option for us to offload the body against what you're naturally doing. So if your body is naturally hinging, I want to give you a squattier version of a squat. And if your body is squatting more, dropping straight down and not back with the hips as much, I want to give you a hingier option of the squat. This will force you into that middle range that we're ideally trying to get ourselves to, but maybe you're just not able to find without the external weight and external load. So for example, if we have someone who's working through a hingier squat, meaning the hips are going back, I'm going to want to front load them. I'm going to want to give them a front squat, goblet squat, double rack squat. One of those many options is going to help you position so the weight's in front. And with the weight in front, what it does is it has a cool mechanism with the body. It makes you sit upright. It forces you to sit upright, which I will loosely call the oh shit response. Because your body does not want to fall over. You don't want to fall forward. So once you get a heavy enough weight in your hands, you're going to sit upright and make sure you maintain tall posture. This is going to fight that hingy action that you had before. Now, if someone is super squatty, drops straight down to the ground, I want to make you hingier. So for that person, a barbell back squat or a low bar barbell back squat are your best options. Because what we're doing in that point is the placement of the weight is forcing you to fold over a little bit more than you normally would with a front-loaded squat. This forcing feature is going to make you then have to sit your hips back a little bit more to counterbalance the weight, which will find that centerpiece for you. Now, for most people, you're going to sit anywhere between the shades of barbell back squat, safety bar squat, which is a much more vertical plane, and a front squat. You don't have to go all the way to the end features. When you get to the point of completely counterbalancing yourself in the front or back, you're finding yourself more of a challenging space. If you have to make more than one accommodation for your movements, then you might want to actually assess the movement instead of trying to, figure out a situation that you can play around instead of actually fixing the true root of the problem. But in these scenarios, it's important to understand what's best for you because you're not going to find many differences between what's the most important squat, whether it's back, safety bar, or front squat. But it may make drastic differences for you when it comes to an anatomical standpoint, from a biomechanical standpoint, from a sheer stress and volume perspective at the hip, ankle, knee, everywhere through the body. So again, it's not a matter of finding out what the best exercise is. It's finding the best squatting exercise for you. So to recap, if you're finding yourself with your hips going too far back and you're folding forward, front load your squats. If you find that you're just dropping straight down and your butt's not really getting back anywhere, back load your squats. And if you're sitting somewhere in between with a perfect buttery squat, then you have all the options available to you. But just make sure that when it comes to exercises, you are finding exercises to fit you and not the other way around. If you have any exercise tips that you want us to talk about or you want me to discuss, happy to bring them up. Shoot them in the comment section. Follow me at David Ote Fit. And I'm happy to discuss this type of stuff